time. Look at us all. We look totally different to what we did an hour ago.
Telling our secrets.
Okay. Hi, everyone. So, week 3, and we have we've asked Vicky Nifton, Superstar Director, for the Sunset Superstars to come and speak with us tonight because she's her expertise in this area. Vicky, you know it. Don't be modest.
That pressure.
I know. So, week 3. My notes, I've done it again. I have like a first draft of notes and a second draft, and I always have to sack it off halfway through the second draft because I've run out of time. So I am a little bit unorganised. I do apologise. Okay, so week 3, we are super excited. We really are. We're absolutely buzzing for this week. It's something that we are super passionate about, the topic for this week. So just to recap on the first, what we've done so far. So each week we kind of design a course, like each week is like a puzzle piece, and hopefully you put them all together and implement what we are trying to teach you guys. And then all of those things implemented, the puzzle pieces put together will help you grow your business and level up. That's the goal. So week 1, we talked about having an entrepreneurial mindset. That was what week 1 was all about, and being dedicated to your own business, recognizing that the work you do for your business is worth doing. It is work worth doing. Whether you get immediate results or it takes months, the work is always worth the effort. And treat your business like the food on your table relies on it. The food in your kids' bellies, or your mortgage payment relies on your business. It makes such a difference. And obviously we talked about never stop growing your own business. Always make your own business a huge priority. Don't ever stop recruiting. Don't ever stop looking for new customers and growing that network. It's super important. Even when you get your own team, oh gosh, I'm pleased everything's okay, Amy. I saw that and I was like, oh, come up in the chat. I'm pleased you're okay. Never stop recruiting, never stop growing. And even when you grow a team, make your own business a priority. Week 2 was what we talked about, creating a team culture. The real definition of leadership, which what we believe, kind of try to sort of discuss how we see leadership and what we see as being successful leadership skills, and how to motivate and inspire, and the importance of pouring gratitude into your team, and teaching independence, which is super important. And it was focused on you as a leader and how to get your team members engaged and inspired into action. Okay, so now this week 3 is all about identifying and developing leaders of your own. You might think another word for leaders could be business builder. So somebody who wants to grow, somebody who wants to recruit and build a team and promote. That's what we define as a leader or a business builder. We're going to touch a little bit on money tonight, just as a pre-one, and there will be a little mention of money in there. Please see income disclosure. Do I need to attach it anywhere? I don't know. But please see the income disclosure because we will mention money a little bit tonight. So I hope that doesn't bother anybody. It is just purely to make a point of something that we're trying to discuss. So we are going to talk a little bit about money. And we are going to talk tonight about people who are going to want to grow their own teams, group promote. I've just said that, sorry. So kick off using the chat. I want you to tell me what you think you would look for in someone who, thank you, Gemma, what you think you would look for in someone who is a potential business builder. What qualities, what skills do you think you would look for in somebody? I'm so excited to see the word passion come up so much. I love it when these keep flying in. There's the income disclosure, by the way, just in case anyone else. Self-reliance, fire in their belly. Absolutely. Drive, ambition, determination. Innovative, love that word. Absolutely freaking love that word. Motivated, enthusiastic, committed, dedicated, fire in the belly. Yeah, these are all exactly what we would look for. Somebody who doesn't make excuses. That is such a good one. That one is absolute gold. Arrows out. Absolutely, Nicola. Fire, passion, dependence. Yeah, absolutely. Someone's wanting to do parties, learning everything for themselves and not relying on me. Passion, loving the products. Busy, independent, ambitious. Yeah, positivity, huge one as well. That mindset, ambitious, someone who cares, approachable, keen to learn. So yeah, showing up to training, inquisitive. Yes, absolutely. Not afraid of hard work. And they recognize the importance of the work they put in. They recognize that the work they're putting in is, like I just said, it's work worth doing. It's really, really important. And they see the bigger picture. So last week we spoke about obviously wanting you to focus on your why and what drives you, and then obviously go, and if you have a team chat or anything like that with your guys, go and speak to them about it too. See what drives them, and see if you can get to the bottom of their whys to inspire action, because when the why is clear, the how becomes easy. So, okay. Before we start talking about looking for other leaders, I just really want to emphasize the importance of yourself, looking at yourself as a leader. And looking at those qualities we just mentioned and thinking, are you working on developing those skills in yourself? Are you looking at developing your knowledge, your training, all those things that you look for in other people? Do you see them in yourself? And if you don't, do you work on them? Do you try and develop them? And do you grow them? See, Amy, yes, I am. Because take your role seriously. Absolutely take your role seriously. Leadership, for me, it's really, really important. I am constantly reading books on leadership, because I want to be the best leader that I could possibly be. I want to be able to inspire action in as many people as I possibly can. So I take my role as leadership really seriously. I know that my actions matter. I know that it matters how I react to situations. I know that everybody's different, and everybody needs different kinds of different kinds of help, different kinds of responses, different levels of support. I know, so I take, like, myself as a leader, I train myself a lot, because there's no one in Sensi. Obviously, we provide training, but you don't have a boss who's going to say, right, I'm going to send you on this course, I'm going to send you on that course. It's down to you whether you show up or not. So I take that really seriously. I read a lot of leadership books. I watch a lot of trainings and try and things, all different things like psychology, leadership. So working on yourself as a leader is really, really, really important. And I just really wanted to stress the importance of that. So we've got all different types of people who join us. Okay, if you don't have that team just yet, obviously your focus is building that team, but still learning these skills, because the time's going to come when you're going to need to implement all these things. If you haven't got that team yet, just keep going, just keep focusing on recruiting, and keep focusing on learning and bettering yourself as much as possible. The majority of the people you bring into the business are going to be hobbyists. So by hobbyists, I mean they will have no interest in recruiting, none. They will just want to do it as a hobby. They will just want to do it as a hobby. They'll just want to sell a bit of Sensi, get their free credits, and they'll just enjoy being part of the community, enjoy being part of the company. They'll have a passion for the products, and they'll have no further wishes to go any further than that. That is absolutely fine. Okay, it's really important to set your expectations that the majority of people who you bring in will only be hobbyists. They will not want to build a team, and they will not want to go any further. Okay, Gemma said something last night about prospecting, and it really spoke to me. She said about the sifting for a golden nugget when you're looking at it. Really, I've never heard of it before. When I heard the word prospecting, I never ever knew that that's what it actually meant. But she said, like, when you're sifting for the I don't like to think of hobbyists as like the dirt or anything like that, but you understand the like reference of what they're trying to say, that you're sifting to look for that golden nugget. So you might have someone who hasn't expressed any interest yet, but they might be your next rock star. We've got the different type of people, the people who are going to join and they're not going to wish to go any further. So over 2/3 of my frontline, so people I've personally sponsored into the business, over 2/3 of them are hobbyists. Over 2/3. The majority of my commission is built up from my leaders. Like, the hugest part of my commission is built up from my leaders, the people who are actively building teams. But the majority of my frontline is built up of hobbyists. So it's really interesting to see how that breaks down. So last month, we looked at this earlier. So I'm just going to use this as an example. Again, I'm really sorry if you don't like talking about money, but it's not something that I talk about a lot. But I just want to make the point of how important that those people and everyone matters in your business. So last month, I have got over 30 frontline hobbyists, over 30 people in my frontline who just get active, who have no interest in building a team. And last month, my commission, I had over £1,000 in commission just from those people who have no interest in building a team. They just want to sell Scentsy. That's all they're interested in doing. Over £1,000 in commission just from them. I thought that was absolutely incredible and really interesting to look how important and how much of your business and how much of your income can be made up from just bringing people in to enjoy selling Scentsy. They don't have to be leaders, and why you should just recruit, never stop recruiting. So that was over 30 of them, but I'm still there for them. Obviously, your level of support differs on the person. It doesn't matter how, you know, my level of support for each. I still build relationships with each person. I still want to get to know them, and my level of support is determined by them. What they want from me. Okay, that's how I determine what I give them. If I know that they want to start recruiting, if they express an interest to me, or I say to them, have you thought about building a team, and they want to start doing that, then that's when I'll start helping them with that. But they still, like, I'm still in contact with them. I have a broadcast list from my frontline. They're still in there. They're still part of my team. I still flipping appreciate them because they really do matter to me. And what did Gemma say? Because everyone's agreeing with it and I didn't see it. If they're ignoring you, that's their way of saying they aren't interested in what you're offering. That's okay. Pour your energy into the people that do. And if you haven't got any other teamers, use your energy to get out there and find your rock stars. Well, that's us done. Mic drop, Gem. Oh dear. So yeah, they really do matter, but my support, I still support them. Okay, just because they're not interested in building a team, I love them. I absolutely love them because I share. I'm really worried about how my notes just stop in a minute, so I'm hoping my first draft of notes are going to help me out. But I share a passion with them for the products. So we share the same passion, and absolutely that's where our common ground is. So I'm going to use two people now as an example in my frontline of how my support for them differed. Gemma Webb and Heidi Westmoreland. So when Gemma joined, she was she hit the ground running. Literally, she was like flying. She knew she knew how to network herself. Like, she could sell ice to Eskimos. If Gemma was selling it, everybody wanted it. And she was so goal driven. She was so absolutely driven on all the incentives. She still is. She's never changed. She's never faltered. And that's why she's an SSD. She's never faltered. And she literally hit the ground running. And my support, like, she was independent. It wasn't like I needed to teach her. She would go, if she wanted to learn something, she'd go out and find a way of learning it. But she fully, like, my excitement levels that I poured into her, I'm just laughing at the comments that I bought everything Gemma's ever sold. Yeah, that's it. Same. She was one of those people, and she just like hit the ground running. Her energy levels were high. She was gunning for it. She was like, right, I want a shooting star. I want Sensational Star at level 3. I think she was star consultant by the end of her first week or something ridiculous. And it was just amazing. Like, I knew I was excited about the business. I was in the first few months of my 6 months. I was 6 months in. My energy levels were high. I was excited. It was super, super, super easy. And I knew exactly how to help Gemma by just being excited with her. Like, we just shared the same excitement, the same goal. I was just obviously making sure that I was supporting her as much as I could, and that we were on the journey together. So I use Heidi and Gemma as an example because now their businesses are a very, very similar situation. Heidi's a star director. She's absolutely incredible, a total rock star. Gemma's a superstar director, absolutely incredible, total rock star. But when Heidi joined, she didn't want that level of support. She did not want me to be pushing her. So Gemma, I could literally, I used this terminology to Vicky earlier, because she's the same. Gemma was on a skateboard and I could push her and she would fly, whereas Heidi was much more, she had spikes in her shoes and she didn't want me to push her. She just wanted to go at her own pace. She wasn't interested in running for all the incentives. She had another business, that was a passion, and she just wanted to do Scentsy on the side and just sell a bit of Scentsy. She was going to give it till Christmas. I'm sure that's what she said. She was going to give it to Christmas and she was just going to plod along nicely. So my support level was totally different. So Gemma, I was speaking to every day. Heidi, if she needed me, she knew where I was, but my support level, like, I couldn't push Heidi. She didn't want to be pushed at all. It wasn't until it was the following year, the summertime, where Heidi, things started to change for her. So she was very much, she didn't want to be pushed. She didn't want me to inject my excitement into her, but I never gave up on her. Heidi was so consistent, and now she's an absolute rock star, and she's a massive, massive, massive part of my business. Okay, so you must never, ever give up on someone if they don't want to be pushed. I can't tell you that enough. So Gemma and Heidi are, like I said, they're both phenomenal, but at the start of their journeys were very different, very different. They did totally different things, absolute totally different things. So it's super, super, super important to remember that just because somebody maybe doesn't want to be pushed, you don't know why that might be. They might tell you why, but don't worry about it. Do not worry about it. And then I was going to talk about something else, but I think I want to jump in with that later. So I'm going to hand over to Lisa. You're muted, Lise.
Sorry, I was just rerunning that report that I was just making sure I had all the right columns on there before we go to the screen. And then I'm like, oh my God, there's something on there that shouldn't be. Right, okay. Oh my God. I love hearing about like where people have got to like the same sort of level, but they just had completely different journeys. So I think it makes you realise how every single person's journey in this business is so different, like so different. And hopefully that should sort of play into what I'm going to talk about. So I'm going to talk to you guys tonight about once you have sort of decided, right, okay, now I know who I've looked at this, I've looked at the different types of things that we've just been talking about. You know, we've looked at, you know, the reflection of you as a leader and whatnot. I'm now going to talk to you about, if you like, what you're looking for, how to identify those leaders, how to find them, where do you find them from? So I am going to talk about this as if you've got a smallish team or a biggish team. You can apply this to whether you've got a team of 5 or whether you've got a team of 1,000. It doesn't, these sort of things are things that I'd be looking for, but it does change slightly as your team gets bigger. So trying to, as I'm sort of talking again, if whether you've got a small team, just still listen to the points, because it's going to be relevant as your team grows, because all of you are going to grow your teams that are on here today. So, okay, so some of the things that I look for when I'm like, I've been looking for this for a long time. I think these are the things that I'm looking out for. And these aren't always, as Tam said, complete, like, absolute, like, oh my God, that just because they've done that, they're gonna absolutely smash it in the long run. Again, these are just some of the things that I'm always looking for. So first thing I look for is people that hit shooting star. I actually didn't hit shooting star, so I'm saying this loosely, exactly as Tam said. Everybody's journey is slightly different. However, if somebody's hitting shooting star, straight away they've hit their 500 within 15 days. They're doing what it takes to be a leader. For you guys, we talked about that on the very first training, about how you want to be putting out that 500 PRV within your first 15 days. And that's how you should work your business every single month. So if somebody new to this business can come in and smash out 500 PRV in the first 15 days, then it's up to you as a leader to keep that momentum, help them keep that momentum going, so that they can carry on doing that. Because lots of people come into this business, hit their shooting star, and then they just disappear. So it's up to you to make sure you're looking out for these things, knowing how to run a shooting star report, for example, so that you can check and see whether they've hit their shooting star, who's, and make sure that you're supporting them all the way through that first 15 days to give them that support. Some people won't need it. They will literally put in their 500-day PRV within like 2 days, and you're like, oh my God. That should be your first sort of alarm bells going off. Okay, the second thing you want to be looking for, do they hit any level within sensational start? Level 1, 2, or 3? If they're hitting any of those levels, especially level 2 and 3, it means they're recruiting, and it means they're putting in PRV. They're the two main things that you need to do to be able to earn on your team, to be able to build a team, all of those things. It means that they're working their business. And again, it's about you making sure that they eat, sleep, rave, repeat, those processes. So whatever they've done in the first 70 days, they need to carry on doing those things. And you need to be there really to support that and make sure they know how to make that work. Obviously, recruiting falls into the sensational start. If they're recruiting from the off, that's someone you want to be working with. If they're able to recruit within the first few, 2 months of their business, in that first 70 days, one, you want to make sure that they're filtering down what they need to do to train their teamies to be able to get them to hit shooting star, which is something that all three of us discussed earlier, that it's really important that you're teaching your teamies to also train their teamies. So you're building leaders, if that makes sense. Teaching your teachers oh my God, get your teeth in. Teaching your leaders to then teach their leaders to teach their leaders, and so on. It's like a rolling process. It's the family tree thing again. See, look, I refer back to it every single week, and you didn't know that. So if they're recruiting, it means that they're already actively going out there and smashing it. So that's people to be looking out for. I'm always watching. I get those emails that come through because for my director team, for example, I'm seeing now my team's got quite big. Sometimes it's a little bit harder to be able to see who is recruiting, who's not, without running reports. But those emails, when they're coming through, I'm looking, I'm thinking, oh, her name's just flashed up. Actually, she recruited last week. She recruited the week before. That's somebody I need to reach out. I need to message them and be like, hey, how are you getting on? Like, absolutely amazing. You've recruited all these people. Like, you're smashing it. Okay. Also, people that are keen to learn. Every single one of you that are on here right now means that you're showing us that you're keen to learn. You're keen to take your business to another level. That proves, you're all leaders. Every single person that's on here, you're taking a lead on your business, which is brilliant. Anybody that wants to come and, do trainings, train their own team, for example. Tam, you taking pictures? Me, like, this is where people catch me in the moment doing things like this. Honestly, terrible. And then look for those people that are turning up for trainings as well. Knowing your downline. If you do a training, or your director does a training, for example, you should be there, obviously, and then looking to see who turns up from your team. And if some of your team is turning up for that training, just popping them a little message after and being like, hey, well done, you turned up for that training, amazing, what did you think? So there are things that I'm always looking for. Like, personally, I'm looking for those people because it shows me that they want to work. I also am really keen to, I put out messages quite often to my frontline to say, right, who wants to work? Is there anybody that would like to work with me? I'm ghosted by lots of my frontline. Lots of them don't message me back. But that's okay, because the small handful that do are the ones that I make sure that I'm messaging regularly, that I'm spending that time with, I'm getting to know them. And as Tam said, I'm still getting to know those other people that maybe aren't as interested, but it's in a much more relaxed style, Okay, so once you've decided who you're going to look for, obviously you've got this amazing tool of the workstation, which I'm hoping that I don't know if I can share my screen, Tam, or whether you're going to need, I don't know whether that will work. Didn't think of that, did I? You might need to, you're muted. You might need to run the report that I've ran. I know, annoying.
What if I make you the host?
If you can, does it allow you to do that?
I can make you the host. Will it stop the recording now?
Don't know. Try it. We're still recording. You are now the host. Yeah, it's now telling me that we're recording. Ah, here we go. Right, let's see if this works. So, just to go through, what I've done is, hopefully this is going to work. Can you see my screen? Everyone's nodding. Right, hopefully this works. This is the only way that we could work out how to share reporting. So what I've done is I've taken, this is my team report, and I've taken all of my leaders out of here. So you won't see any directors and above in this report. I've taken all of their names out as well. I have kept their level in, which obviously their level shows whether they're like my frontline or whether they're my team is frontline and so forth. But it should be quite difficult for you to be able to work out who's who, because I certainly don't know who's who. So when you're looking at this, some of the things that we wanted to show you, you've got this amazing tool to actually help you physically be able to see what your team are doing on a sort of day-by-day basis. I probably check my downline report and my team report every other day, if not daily, just because it's just a bit of a habit now. I come on and I look. Now, some of you might never have seen this report before, and you might be looking thinking, oh my God, I've never seen that before. And if you haven't, the button that you need to press, I won't do it because otherwise I will lose this report, is you need to click on the reporting tab, and you will get 3 options. The first option says view my performance. The next one says team performance, which is a lot of people probably click on the team performance. And then the next one is your bar reports. The actual one that you need to look at is view my performance, which will give you a whole downline perspective. So it will look at your entire downline. So you can see here all of the different things. Now, normally this, as I say, this would have name in here, as well as, what else did I take out? I think it's name and consultant ID I took out. So if you look at this side, you've got level. That means, so for example, level 1 is that's one of my teams, someone that I recruited personally. Level 2 means it's somebody that they recruited, one of my team recruited. Level 3 is someone they recruited, and so forth. You get the idea, all the way down until whatever the deepest number is. You've got your title, your projected title, and your rank. Now, I just want to draw your attention to this. Was it? Not that one. It's not that one. Where was it? And now it's probably disappeared because I've run it on a different report. I just wanted you to show you things that you want to be doing regularly. That one's disappeared now. God, I will come back to it. I'll find it in a minute. So some of the things that you want to be looking out for, you've got reports at this side here. Sensational start. If you click on that, that will bring up everybody in your whole team. So your whole team is anyone you recruited and anyone they recruited. Lots of people say to me, oh, hold on, but they're not my team because I didn't recruit them. No, they're your frontline, but everybody they recruited is also in your team. They're also part of your team numbers. So when you're looking at your team, you need to be looking at everybody within the report, because this is going to help you to see, right, well, who are my rock stars? Where are my rock stars? For example, this particular certified consultant has already smashed out 523 PRV this month. So I should be, and they've recruited somebody. So I want to help them to make sure they're hitting their lead figures. So that's the sort of thing I'm going to be looking for when I'm looking who to work with, for example. This will obviously be easier for you to look at when you're looking at your own teams. Is there anybody that's never seen this screen before? Just to put that out there, the chat's disappeared. I don't know where it's gone on my screen. Is it under plus? No, it's under more, isn't it? Chat. Is there anybody that's never seen this screen before?
So a few people have said they've never seen it.
Okay.
Somebody said, how do you get it to show like this? So this is what, like Lisa said, she's gone on to reporting, view my performance, and then started a downline report. So let's see if I can.
You can do it. You can do it if you're on a computer and you've got your phone with you. Check it out. Go and have a little look and have a little nose at it. But this is how we check to see whether someone. I don't use any other way of looking at my team anymore because this gives so much information in one quick view. They are, Kerry. You won't automatically have these at the side. It's probably phone people looking at this now. Are reports that I've saved myself, so that it makes it a little bit easier for me to be able to click on certain things. So for example, like Tam and I we watched a training on this where, say, for example, somebody is coming up to lead figures. When I click on projected lead, they automatically will fall into that report. So it will look slightly, some of yours will look slightly different, for example. So this is the report that you need to be using to actually look for your rock stars, to see what people are doing. Again, the shooting star report is here to the left. So you can click on that and it will show everybody in your team and who is getting close to that 500 PRV. And it shows their 15th day. It shows absolutely everything that you need in one screenshot. And that's the sort of thing you want to be looking at. The same with essential to certified, for example. Watching that essential to certified, seeing all the people that are in your team. I had somebody, I remember one of my team, and when she first joined, this was like when I very first started, I think I did this actually, and I was like adding up people's PRV each month and going back and going, right, what was your PRV that month? Because I didn't realise that all of this was literally to my hand, a touch of a button, which allowed you then to be able to see all of the things that you need to see to be able to help your leaders and to be able to help people and to be able to help drive them forward and give them goals. So the same with I'm trying to think which ones are there. Promotions is there as well, so every time you'll be able to look back at that, but it's after pay run that will be there, so you can actually go hold on, it's gonna check me out.
Say, click on something quick.
Click on something, it's gonna check me out. So those sorry, your promotions will be there after the 10th of every month. You can literally go back and you can check to see who's promoted each month as well. But ideally, you want to be able to look at this type of report and to be able to see these things happening before they happen. Something that is like my biggest top tip, and look, mine's open on that page, is I've always got my consultant guide open with the compensation plan. And even now, sometimes I go back and I check just to make sure I've got how many people they need active, how many people, for example, they need for each promotion, to make sure that I'm giving the right information and I'm checking the right information. So
well, I would say, just to, sorry, on the workstations, me and Lisa are self-taught, like completely self-taught. We've taught ourselves. I believe there is training on the workstation, but I've never watched it. I've just played with it, gone in, done different things, tried out different things, and you can't break it. So just have a play with it and have a look around it.
Yeah, and you can save lots of different reports. And if there's any particular reports, I have got a document somewhere that I put together ages ago, which I can upload in the group, which has got like how to run things like shooting star reports, annual mentor. I'm trying to think what else is on there. There's loads of different things. I'll upload it again in the group because it's probably in the dark depths of the director sharing group, I imagine. But it's quite helpful for you guys to sort of learn how to do this. And this for you with identifying your leaders as your team grows. So, for example, we're looking at a page here that's got just 50 teamies on it. And you can have that up to 250. Now, while your teams are, some teams are smaller, for example, get to grips with how this works, because then as your team grows, it becomes easy to be able to identify those leaders, see those people that are getting close to promotion, see those people that maybe their teams are suddenly growing, because especially this, the active frontline and the new recruits column, really, really important. So you can see who's recruiting, especially as your team grows. It's quite easy to probably keep track of it whilst your team's smaller, but I can tell you as it gets bigger, you need to sort of have an understanding on this, because it really, really helps with being able to pick out those people of who to work with. You know, I could, one of the things I did want to show you was obviously when people promote, and I'm just trying to find someone that has promoted. There was somebody that had promoted from certified when we were looking earlier, and I was like, I'll use that person, but it's not on. It should stay, shouldn't it? If I click on the next page, I just didn't want it to. I don't think it's going to do it. If it does, just to show you, so this column here, this title, I don't want to get too like into this, because honestly we could sit and do a whole training on this and we'll end up, the one you're looking for is the title will be different to the projected title and the projected rank. So the title, for example, if this particular person here had certified, her title would show as CC, yeah, I've got that right, CC, and her projected title would be CC, but her projected rank would be EC. So it would show that she is jumped up on the other side. So this way round, for example, is if I show you, is a star consultant that has not quite got her lead figures yet. So you can see she's a star consultant, but at the moment she'll be paid as certified because she's not got her group wholesale volume, which is 75% of your team volume. But I don't want to get too into this, because otherwise we're literally going to... Okay, so they're the sort of things you want to be looking for. You can literally save all your reports at the side. As you can see, I've got lots of reports that you won't have. If you look at TAMS, we've got lots of reports. But again, you will start to find out what you need as an individual. Okay, I feel like I've gone off on a bit of a tangent. So am I going to pass you over to Vicky now? Is there anything, girls, you want to add on this? Tam and Vicky?
Oh, no, I'm on mute.
Right. I know there's quite a lot of questions coming in about reporting.
Yeah, this is like a whole training on its own, isn't it? It's really hard to do workstation training because we're not supposed to GPDR and data protection and whatnot. We're not supposed to obviously show the workstation, so it's very difficult to go any more than what Lisa's done right there, which is just a load of numbers and C's and E's and whatnot. Yeah. It's really difficult. But now I think
in terms of that, I've covered it. Yeah, let me unshare for now then. Stop share. So just to finish on that, obviously, these are the sort of things that you're looking for. So you're looking for all of those traits that you talked about at the beginning, the passion, the drive, all of those qualities. You're also looking for people that obviously hit their numbers, like shooting star, sensational start. Then maybe they start recruiting. Even if they don't hit shooting star and sensational start, and suddenly they find that fire within them, then, and they say to you, right, I want to do this, I want to work with you, then you've got that. They're the sort of people that you think, right, I'm going to give you my time. And I think that's really important. I think to make sure that you, as your team grows, you physically won't be able to give your time to every single person, because I know I certainly can't. I wish I could. I really wish I had enough time to do that in the day, but it's just impossible. So you have to make sure you're working with the people that actually want it, if that makes sense. So I'm going to hand over to you, Vicky, because otherwise I will talk forever.
Just quickly, someone said TWV is the volume of what you so it only really comes into play when you've got a director under you. So until you've got a director under you, your TWV and GWV will always be the same. When you've got a director under you, and when I say under you, I mean in your downline, I don't mean like you're sat on them, their TWV will come out of your TWV, but they will stay in your GWV. So everyone who is in my downline is in my GWV, but only those that I am a director of are in my TWV. Does that make sense?
It does. You explain that a lot better than I did, because I was getting a faff when I'm explaining TWV. Oh dear.
No one's saying it is, and I've actually hidden everyone. Makes sense.
Yeah, makes sense.
Thank you. Right, go, Vicky.
Thank you. Thanks, Lisa. Thanks, Chad. So yeah, I just wanted to, I know like Tam and Lisa have both just touched on it as well, but finding your rock stars and the different types of rock stars, because I know that in my team and in my group, there is so many different types. So it really does depend on how you work with them, depending on who it is. So like Lisa said, you're looking for the people who are the hit shooting star, the hit sensational star, the people who come in and they're getting the PRV in and they're finding it easier to recruit than other people. It's like people who know a lot of people, who have like a massive support network. Like those are the people that you want to be looking at and working with. And I had one of these girls in my team, and she wasn't my first gen. Oh, she's a director now, but she isn't my first gen. She's a second gen director. But from her joining, I just knew that she was going to be an absolute rock star. You can just tell. So I instantly, and I think sometimes it is more natural. You just start building like that relationship. And I did this with her, and she'd come and she'd borrow my stuff for her parties and all the rest of it. And I got really, really excited with her. And like Tam said earlier, like we kind of just like fed off each other's excitement, like what she did with Gemma. But then what happened is that something in her personal life happened, and all just kind of like came crashing down a bit, and she just completely lost her mojo. And it went on for months. She just kind of stopped. And I knew that she had that potential to be an absolute rock star. Like I knew that she was going to make it. So what I started to do is I thought, how can I get her going again? All the rest of it. And because she was that top PRVer, she was recruiting, like it seemed like at the click of a finger, she could just recruit. She knew so many people. She had so much support, and I thought, this girl is going to throw away such an opportunity here. So I started reaching out again, started building back up. And when I did that, I noticed like she was getting support from a sponsor as well. Like she's got a really supportive sponsor. But I noticed that she started to get her buzz back. And it was all about, and she'll say it now, she calls me a crazy lady, and she says, a lot of what helped her was I'd send her these like squealing voice notes, just telling her how amazing she was. She's going to make it. You're going to the top. You're going to be a director. You can do it. And it was all about my energy levels. And she, although she was getting like the support from a sponsor, and I know she got a lot of support, and she's got a lot of inspiration from Tam as well. She has openly said to me that it was literally my energy and my excitement for her business that got her there. So it's finding what works for different rock stars, basically. And I knew that this girl, she needed that excitement. She needed that me screaming at her, believe in yourself, you're going to do it, you're going to smash it, you can do it. And it works, it really does work. And it's about like finding the right energy to deal with a certain type of people. She she's here.
She's
Alex,
they're talking about you, Alex.
Right. But yeah, it is, and she calls me a crazy lady. She still does, and I knew that she needed that injection of excitement. And like I say, she's got such a good sponsor. Like her director and her sponsor is amazing, and she had that support. She had all the inspiration from Tam. But I know by sending her some crazy ass voice messages that would get her excited, and it works. It really does work, and it's about not losing faith. If they lose their mojo, you've got to help them as their leader. You've got to help them get it back. That is so important. I scream at everybody, I think.
So everyone's going to be sending screaming voice notes now to their downline.
He plugs in, everybody. But it works, though. It works. It's like, obviously that's not for everybody, like the screaming and the excitement and the high energy. That is not for everybody. But it's about getting them excited, making them feel passionate about the business, reminding them why they're doing it. Because when you've got them high vibes going on, you are literally like your body shakes, like mine does. Like I'm shaking now, but like your body shakes, it gets going. You know, you're excited, you're passionate, you love it, you remember why you're doing it, and shut up. But this is it. And Alex, as you now all know, because she's here. She literally went from lead, and then one month she promoted to star. The next month she double promoted. She went superstar director. The following month after promoting to star, and that was literally, we talked every day. I know she had the support of a sponsor. She had the support of Tam, and this is what leads me to say is let your upline be support as well for your downline. Like I said, Alex isn't my first gen, she's my second gen, so I am the sponsor of her sponsor, who I was also screaming her way to director with. But it is okay to go further down into your downline. You don't just have to concentrate on your front line. Because although Claire, Alex's sponsor, she'd got to direct her, that didn't mean that I couldn't reach out to her downline and help and support them, because they're still in my group. They're still under my umbrella. So it's totally fine for your upline to help. And just be okay with it. I mean, if you feel like you need to, you could just drop a message. If it's someone further down in your downline, you could just drop a message to the sponsor and just say, oh, look, I've noticed so-and-so's doing so well. Do you mind if I drop her a quick message? And I've, like, 9 times out of 10, I think they'd be fine with it. But yeah, don't be afraid to reach further down into your downline. And if you've got like a really supportive upline who wants to help you, don't be afraid to let them help. It doesn't say anything about you as a leader. It just getting help from everywhere, it helps. I know me and Tam got quite close before I became a director, and like my sponsor was fine with that. And it's absolutely it really did change my business. And because Tam lived a lot closer to me than my sponsor did, having her support, it really did help, because I could go, she lives like 45 minutes away from me, so I used to go over to her house and stuff, and like we'd get excited and all the rest of it, and it really does help. So do not be afraid if your upline wants to help further down into your team, and don't be afraid to ask for the help either. I often ask Tam, just be like, oh yeah, just, will you do one of your director messages? And it's absolutely fine to do that. So that's the first type of rock star. Another type of rock star that I just want to, oh my God, shut up, Jade. Oh.
I love that.
I felt like that the first time I met Tam. I was like, oh my God, there she is.
Tip over.
I know, now I'm like, oh, well, you want to know what I like now, but yes. Anyway, the second type of rock star that you really want to be looking for, and I've got a few of these in my team, and I know one of them for sure is watching tonight, and I won't name names, but I know that she'll know that I'm talking about her. But it's the people who maybe join as a hobbyist, or maybe want to join because they want to get free Sensei, they just love the products and they're spending a fortune and whatnot. But then they soon realise what they're onto. And these are the people that you really, really should support. It's the people that want it. It's the people that say that they want it. They work hard every single day. They're consistent. Like this girl, she's been consistent from day one. She's always been consistent. She shows up to every single training. If I'm reading a book and I think it's good, I'll share it. She'll buy the book and she'll read it. She'll go on YouTube and she'll watch videos, and she works so hard, and I know so many people do, but yet they just find it that little bit harder to get the PRV and to get the teammates, although they are trying everything. These people are also rock stars, because I know for a fact that whether it takes 2 years, 10 years or 15 years, I know that this girl is going to make it to the top. And that, what I think is she's lacking in is self-belief, and it's up to me to make her believe that this can happen. As her director, as her sponsor, as her SSD, it's up to me to make her believe that it can happen, because it will happen, and I'm so confident. And watching the journeys of the hobbyists or the people who it's not like so instant for, they're not hitting shooting star, they're not doing sensational start, watching their journeys as they have that realisation of, yeah, God, you know what, I could actually do this, and being there and supporting them and giving them the advice, and then them listening and taking it and like using it and injecting it into their business. Like, it is so rewarding to watch. So when they do get, close to that next level and you're cheering them on, it's like literally the best feeling ever. And those people, they turn up, they read the books, they feed the brain, they're consistency is key in this business. Everybody will tell you that. It is consistency. is key, but they're coachable. These people are also your rock stars. So don't just be looking out for the people with a high PRV, the people who are smashing shooting stars. I mean, obviously look out for those people. But also just look further down and deeper into things. Are they always consistent? Are they always active? Are they consistently like posting on the Facebooks? Are they interacting in your team groups? Are they trying to recruit? These people are also your rock stars. And then it will happen. It will happen. You've got to believe in them for them to believe in them. And then that's when the magic will happen. I promise it will happen. But my biggest, like my top tip would be think about how you're making people feel. And Alex, as always, she's been the one that's made me realise that how I make people feel, how I make my downline and my group and my teammates and my frontline and everybody like feel is so important, because it's how people feel is, and then I don't know if you've read like the Noah Hibbert book or you're into like the law of attraction, anything like that, but how you make people feel is if you're making them feel excited, if you're giving them self-belief, you know, if you're making them feel passionate, they've got high vibes, and that's going to attract more to them. And it's how you make people feel that can give them the results that they're like, I don't know, like that they're looking for. That can give them the results that they desire. So it's so important to be cautious of how you're making people feel. And just a simple message of praise to somebody who stands out to you in your downline, whether it be someone with like the top PRV or someone who's close to promotion, no matter how far down they are, even if it's like 5, 6 down, whatever, you could just drop them a message and just be like, wow, look at you. You're so close to this promotion. Just so you know, I'm cheering you on. You know, you can do it. And just like getting that little bit of excitement is going to get them like so. Like some people, they'll just like, oh my God, wow, she's noticed me. Or like people like to be noticed and people like the recognition. So just go for it. That would be my top tip, is just think about how you're making them feel. And the rest will follow, along with everything else Tam and Lisa have said.
I think no, but it is like it's a circle. Like you're working, like we are pouring into you guys to do your self-development. So you do your self-development, so your energy levels are high, your excitement levels are high, your passion's high, you can see the opportunity, and then you're pouring that into your team. Your team will feed off of that energy. The energy you are giving out, not everyone's going to want it. Some people throw it back at you, but just catch it and give it to someone else. Yes. But just that energy that you're literally working so hard on with your self-development. Self-development is key. Attitude of gratitude, absolutely the most important thing you can ever do. That energy that you have got will be there. It'll be like the currency they use. Like, I love the quote, your energy is your currency, spend it wisely. It's so true. It's so true. You've got to spend it wisely. You've got to pour it into your team, the people who want it, and they will literally invest that energy into their businesses. And then that will inspire actions, and actions equal results. So if you're going back from the quote last week, if your actions inspire others to dream more, learn more, do more, and become more, you are a leader. So that's like the whole thing. That's me and Vicky have built leaders in very similar ways, where we've just literally like,
It's so true. And it's like as well, like some people, you've got to remember with some people, when you're trying to find your rock stars, it is like you're in it for the long haul. You know, not everybody's going to get there in like I've got a director in my group, and she did it in 6 months. Like I've been at her to join for ages, and she ghosted me, like she wasn't interested. She joined, and in 6 months she's a director. But then I've got other amazing directors where it's took them 2 years. You know, like it's a long haul game. You know, you're in it for the long haul, so you can't just disregard them hobbyists as hobbyists, because you just never know what's going to happen. You really don't.
No, you don't. And somebody like their vibe and their energy level and the gear their business is in could change at any point.
Yeah.
It's massively down to their mindset, and there's a lot you can do, but if their mindset's not in the right place, then all you do would just fall on deaf ears. It's not going to work. They have to be in the right mindset, and they have to be open to taking coachable, like what Lisa said. They've got to be coachable. They've got to accept like you're not going to be able to just give them a magic solution. Like, we wanted to talk about how we help people who are obviously showing that they want to grow. For me, it's obviously building a relationship up with them. That's something I've done, built a massive relationship up with them. Helping them identify their strengths so they can massively build on them and get results from their strengths, and any weaknesses they have. Right, okay, what can we do? What can we do to better that? But the action's got to come from them. They've got to be the one who put the action in. Nobody can do it for them. Nobody can go work their business for them. It's got to come from them.
Yeah.
One of the questions that just come up in there was, which we knew would come up, we had this conversation, was where people would say, there's a few people say, but wouldn't my downline be upset that I've reached out to their teamie? And I would say no, and they shouldn't be. And that's maybe a conversation that you need to have, because they need to be aware that they're also your teamie. So everybody that's in that whole downline, for example, I've reached out, I know that there's people on here, for example, that I've reached out to, I'm seeing their names popping up, and I think I've messaged them, but I didn't recruit them. And I've messaged them and said, look, I'd love to work a little bit closer with you. You know, like, there isn't anything wrong with that. And if you're the person that you've recruited is upset about that, the only time I think that that would change is maybe if you were both at the same level, and if you were both at the same, like, you say you were both star consultant, for example, then yes, it becomes like your team really and their team. And that's similar to when you get to director, because eventually you will either become that person's director, or eventually you'll become that person's SSD, and you want to have relationships with as many people in that team as possible, I think, because the more relationships you've got, the more leaders that you can grow. And I mean, I think we all work really, really similarly. So one of my big things is that I ask everybody who wants it, and I do that quite regularly. I put that out as a message to my frontline quite a lot, saying, like, who wants to work, who would like coaching calls, is there anybody that wants to work a little bit closer to hit that next promotion? And the ones that come back to me are the ones that I work with as much as I possibly can, because obviously sometimes it can be quite a big number. But that's a big thing. And the same way Tam said, works on their strengths and their weaknesses, I help them set their goals. I help them look at, right, where do we need to improve? Let's look at your business as a whole. Let's look at your report, like that downline report that I've just showed you. And I look at, you know, their PRV for the last few months. We look at their reporting, and then we come up with a strategy. We come up with a plan. Right, look, this is where your business needs to focus on. Right now, it's PRV. And until your PRV's up, there's no point in focusing on anything else. And off they'll go. And hopefully then we keep regular contact where we're always messaging. I'm always checking in, like, how are you getting on? Is there, you know, anything that you could do? Let's look at how you can improve that. And if you don't know the answers to it, your upline will, whether that's your director, whether you're superstar director, whether it's your star director, if they are, you know, coming to you saying, look, I don't know what else to do, and you're a bit like, oh, I don't know what else to do either, then reach out to the people above you that can help you. But I think we all work very similarly. One of the other things that I said to Tam that I do quite a lot is create smaller little groups of people that maybe are working towards the same goal, and put them on a chat together. So, for example, some of my girls that are on here will know, like, I've got like a star and upwards, like a small group that are like going towards director, for example, or superstar and upwards, and they're like in a little WhatsApp group called Director Watch. And for example, they are all on there together because they've got the same common goal, and the idea is that they also can help motivate each other, and it builds their relationships within the group. So that works really, really well for me as well. So just a couple of things that work for me.
Yeah, I love that idea.
And WhatsApp groups.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it works as long as it's kept quite small and it's not too big a group. I've found within my team, especially when we did like the recruiting groups, it was your idea, Tam, that like went off storming. So I adapted that, and I've done like a few smaller groups. Sometimes it just depends on who you're working with. You've got to have a couple that are at that same level that all want it, or, you know, a couple that all want to promote. Even if you've only got a small team and you've got maybe 3 that really, really want to promote, create a little chat called your Rockstar chat, you know, like, and put them all together. And then you can literally voice note them all with your, oh my God, because we all do it. Honestly, I do it all the time. There's people on here that I know. When you were saying that, I'm thinking, oh my God, I do that all the time. And if someone recruits, they get an even louder, like, oh God, and normally it's me crying at the end of the phone, you know, because it is great, like, to see your team do well. Yeah, that works quite well for me. So.
Yeah, we do focus chats. We've done them in the past. Obviously, they're smaller, quite intense groups, so you can only do so much at once, but they do work really, really well. This is why we talked about like your accountability buddy though. Like, you find your energy of resource as well. Like, you go out there and find it. It might not be your direct sponsor who's the person who inspires you and makes you want to go for it. So that's why we really wanted to try and buddy people up to find some new relationships and new, like, because me and Lisa are not in, we're nowhere in, I suppose we are somewhere on the same tree, but not that we're aware of, probably under consultant number one.
Yeah.
But we work really, really well together. We're on the same levels, and obviously Vicky as well. We're on the same levels. We've got the same goal. We want the same things. So it's real. I find accountability buddies the most amazing thing that you can put into your business. Absolutely gold.
Definitely. One of the other things I think a lot of people ask me is, what do you do with those people that really, really don't want it? I think I've been asked that question 3 times this week. You know, like, if you're reaching out to your team and you're getting absolutely nothing back from them.
Page 69, apparently. It's a bit cutthroat.
It is a bit cutthroat, but this is, what's his name? Ray Higdon.
It's bloody genius, this guy, what he says. This book is the best leadership book I've ever read. Freakishly Effective Leadership for Network Marketers by Ray Higdon. It's bloody brilliant.
This is a bit cutthroat though, isn't it? When we said this, I was like, oh my God, but I don't want any. Please, if you feel like this is you, don't take offence. That's what I'm just saying.
She's reading from a book. She's not reading her own notes.
So he says, like, when someone struggles, people often ask, like, how long you should work with someone who isn't doing what you've taught them to do. And there's generally 3 reasons for this. I don't know if I should read this out. Number 1, they're not willing to do the work. Number 2, they're apprehensive about taking action, which I think actually is something that a lot of people struggle with, because it's that confidence.
It's fear. It's fear.
Yeah. Fear of failure, I think, is like such a massive thing that you think, oh my God, I'm going to fail. So actually, I'm not going to go and ask those 10 people to join, because even though they'd all be amazing teamies, they're going to say no, I won't do it. And then the last one is, they're not in the business for results. They're in the business for attention. I've never heard that last one. But I suppose it's like thinking of like maybe people that need a little something else in their life, maybe that they're not getting elsewhere. And then, yeah, I've not really...
They're not actually driven to build a business. They're just craving attention. I think that's what...
Yeah. Which I've never really heard that one. But I think as well, it's...
You read it through gritted teeth.
I know, I did. I was a bit like, oh. But I think it's like I said to my teamie this week, I said, like, you can only take a horse to water. You can't make them drink. And it's the same with the whole motivation thing. It's the same with leadership, is you can show people, but if they're really not, coming back, just don't give up. As like Vicky said, just keep going, keep being consistent, keep recruiting. 1 in 10 people will be that rock star. Sometimes you've just got it's like kissing more frogs to get your prince. And it's the same with your absolute rock stars. You've got to recruit lots to eventually get that one person that goes, yeah, I want this like you do. And you're like, oh my God. And then you end up voice noting everyone going, I found a rock star, and it's bloody brilliant. So, but that doesn't mean to say that other people won't get there in their own time. They might just chip away at it a little bit slower.
Yeah, absolutely. With regards to the people wanting to obviously reaching out to your downline, that it's never anything I have ever thought about. Obviously, if I know I've got someone in my downline who is actively leading and they've got their own team environment, because that's what I encourage people to do. I encourage people to set up their own community. That's what I want people to do, because that's what I did. That's what aided my business growth. But when I was, for example, like a small team of like 3, 5, going up to when I started hitting director and it started growing a lot quicker, I know it never occurred to me that somebody might be offended if I reached out to their downline. I just built that relationship with them because that's what I was paid to do. My job is to help them. So you're not treading on toes. You are obviously like giving them a line of support that they may need. I was saying, I don't think she's on actually, but one of my frontline directors now, she her sponsor was my very first recruit. No, so the person who eventually brought her into my business was my very first recruit. They sponsored somebody, and they sponsored somebody, and they sponsored this lady. This lady came to me for support, not at first because there was 3 people between us. Not at first, she didn't come to me for support, but eventually she did, and I built a relationship up with her. She's now my frontline. I'm now her sponsor, and she's now my frontline director. And I actively offered her support because she wanted it. So I actively offered her support. I was asking her to show me like where she was with an incentive trip and stuff like that. I was just offering that because I was in the business, I'm growing, I'm passionate, I wanted it, and she wanted that level of support. She wanted a different thing to what the people between us wanted. She wanted to go further, she wanted to go to the top, she wanted to win the trips, whereas the people between us were more hobbyists. So she just like naturally reached out to me. There was no offence to anybody in between us. They've now all left the business as well, all 3 of them have. So it's kind of how the business works. I think it's yeah, exactly. Sarah, she wouldn't be a director without higher upline reaching out. She's not everybody. You don't. It's if you try not to look at it that you're treading on someone's toes. Look at it that that's your job. Your job. Obviously, you don't want it. Like if somebody is actively leading, it's how you do it. I think, isn't it? Like it's there's
as well. Like I think it's. A lot of the time is everybody has different like when I was talking about Alex, I know she got
like, naming her now, aren't we?
I know, it's like Alex hook everyone. But like I know that she was getting like one type of support from Claire, and then she was getting a different type of support from me, and then she was getting a different type of support from you. Like so I think everybody kind of has different ways of support. And for me, like, and anybody in my downline, like the more different types you can get, the better, because it's only gonna be a good thing, isn't it? Because obviously not everybody's the same and appreciates squealing messages.
I know some people will be like, "Oh, listen to this. It's a bit weird."
But this is it. Some other people might like a bit more of a calm and quiet support. That's why don't be scared to reach out.
That's what you've got to think. Like it actually says it in this book. No, actually, it could be a different one. I've got several books where it says you've got to think, if anything happened to you, do your team know where they can go if they need somebody? And that's really, really important. Like they do have, they're not just relying on you, or they're not just relying on one person, that they do have like a broader level of support. That's why I have a team page. And you know, most people get answers for questions from that rather than coming to me, because I've got over 60 people in my frontline. If every single person wanted me to tell them what bulb went in this warmer or this, that and the other, I would never get off my phone. So that's where my team page, and obviously where you teach independence, you appreciate screaming messages. You do.
Love squealing message.
There was something else, you're just cheering them on and the relationships start to build with them, and it's natural. That's it. It isn't because you love squealing messages. I love squealing messages. I get so excited when somebody starts getting excited to me as well. But that's the thing, like your relationship, it's a natural thing. Like me building relationships being the hugest, that's been how I've developed leaders. I've built relationships with them and I've worked with them and I've developed a friendship with them. And that's how I've developed like leaders in my team. But it's been natural. It's been because we've got a common ground where we're both in for it. You know, we've got the massive thing in common where we both love Scentsy and we both love everything about the company, and we both love, like, we'll share, like, just share the same interests, and it becomes like something massively in common that helps develop your friendship. So yeah, that's it. Some people are massively independent, and that's great. That's what you want. You want independent teammates. When I was it was around when I got director, I wanted to break off and I wanted to be completely independent. And that's how I've run my business. And that's been a massive part of my growth, from me deciding that I wanted to break off and I wanted to be completely independent. It is a huge, like, it really has helped my business grow.
I think it's really important as well for all of you guys on here, any of you that have, you're starting to think, oh, I need to be able to, maybe connect with my team better. I know that you said about it, Tam, earlier, is to set up your own group pages. If you haven't done it already, do it now. If you, Tam, I know you said it, but if you want to be a director, you've got to act like it. As simple as that. You've got to have your own group page. Get it done and start doing your own training. Start, you know, connecting with your team that way. That's outside of like our group pages, and you'll invite everybody that's been recruited below you, who, regardless who recruited them, invite them all to that page, get them all in there, and then create content that's different to what they may be already seeing. You know, share images in there, show them that you're a leader, even if it's only starts the group of 5. It doesn't matter. I started my director group far too late. I wish I'd started it a lot sooner. I started my director group when I hit director, and I wish I'd done it as like a star. I had a group message, but it wasn't the same. It wasn't the same.
I did it when I hit director. Sorry. That's all right, you go. I did it when I hit director, but I found that transition from a chat to director quite difficult. Like, it was a long time ago, but like the chat, I found the chat really difficult. I remember finding it really overwhelming and really difficult to keep up with it. It's not like you could search for questions and you couldn't search for answers. And I had a little bit of resistance when I decided I wanted to move to a group, but it was the best thing I did. Massively the best thing I did.
My old group's still running, and there's still some people in there that message now and again.
Oh, in your group chat, the only people who are in mine are me and Gemma Webb. Sometimes I'll randomly find it and just send her, "What's up?"
There's a few people. I went in there the other week. It wasn't long ago, about a month or so ago, and I was like, guys, do you know that this is like dead? Like, this group's like dead in the water. It's like it doesn't exist anymore. And people are like, oh, I wondered why people didn't respond. I was like, oh god, guys. Yeah, but I think we changed it when I had 250 in there. As soon as it hit 250, I realised you couldn't have any more in there, could you?
And it was like 30, I think.
Imagine what that messenger chat was like with 250 people. It literally was going all day, ping, ping, ping. I was like, oh my god, I can't cope. So group.
But then if a non-related Scentsy, like non-Scentsy related chat happens, people are like, I've got pictures of everyone else's kids and what they're having for tea. And
whereas a group, it just took that all away, and it becomes so much more
easy.
So if you haven't done it, I recommend it. Do it.
Somebody, I can't remember who said it, that they're a rock star but they don't want to recruit. I think that's just something. I've actually had a rock star who didn't want to recruit, and it was that I said to her, she had amazing PRV, absolutely amazing PRV, and I said to her, if you don't recruit your customers, someone else is going to ask them. Like, someone else is going to start asking them. So I know you don't want to recruit them, but someone else might. So she started she didn't ask anyone, and then one of her customers joined under another consultant, and she lost that customer. And I think that was a real like awakening for her, because she realized that like then she had competition, and it wasn't anything part of her downline. So she has started to, if people want to join, she does recruit them, and it's obviously building a business, definitely. We started with just 3 of us, but we've built it up into training units. It's a great way to bring new teamers in and give them support. I actually think as well, because I know my group now, my big group is really overwhelming. So it's nice for them to have that smaller community. I felt overwhelmed when I got added to my director's team page. I felt much safer in a little small team chat. I felt much safer to ask questions, and I got to know people a little bit. So I do think it's really important. It's because it's not really something I can give now, because I don't have that small team. I have a big frontline and a big downline. So like the smaller teams, I do think it's nice for them to build up a smaller community too.
I think, like, I was a superstar consultant when I got mine. It was the month before I promoted to director. So I'd been superstar like a few months. The month before I got my team group. And there was some resistance with mine as well. Like, not everybody wanted to go into a team group because they had like Team Diamond, and then they had like my sponsors director group and stuff. Shall we hated it? Huh? Wow.
Truth bomb.
I know. Right, But at the end of the day, you're not going to please everybody, and you've got to remember that you're doing it for you. Do you know, like having that team group and acting like a director, it's going to get you there. You can't please everybody. Just remember that when like the shells of the world are like, no, we want the chat, we want the chat.
Oh dear, that's really funny. But I do think, like Vicky said there, you've got to do what's right for you. Like I found my team chat really, like I could never speak to my customers because my team chat was just buzz, 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 buzz. Speaking to new recruits, it was just so hard to manage. And then when I got rid of it, I just felt like a massive weight lifted. So the sooner you do it, the better.
I think as well, I know some people that have group and chat that run together. And I think, oh, you won't get the interaction on your group. They go, well, I don't get any interaction on my group. I'm like, get rid of the chat. Get rid of the chat and the group.
Because they will go to the chat because people feel safer in a messenger chat than they do in a group for some reason. Like I felt that too. When you're a new consultant, you feel a little bit vulnerable, don't you? So
yeah,
you do feel a little bit vulnerable. So I guess you feel safer talking in a small team chat. Maybe you could just pick like smaller groups and make the D groups are an eye opener. Maybe you could just that's an understatement. Maybe you could just make smaller group chats like I did it when around last March time. I recruited quite a few people quite quickly, so I put all them in a little group together and just created smaller chats. It's just trying to give them a little safe place.
It's a good way to put maybe people that before they certify, you could definitely keep them in like a chat. So then if you've got a really like small group of like 5 that are all working towards certifying, and then once they're certified, you could go, yeah, you've promoted into the big group, like welcome now, because they're by that point they've sampled. But it's just whether you want them to have your resources if you've got a bigger group as well. I think I always give people the option. I say, look, I've got 2 groups. They're really overwhelming. They are really busy. Turn your notifications off. Just use what you need. And most people, they're like, oh, it's okay. And then they come to me and go, oh my God, there's so much stuff. I'm like, I know, so busy.
I know, I always say there's going to be a lot of stuff in there that makes absolutely no sense. Just worry about setting your group up, getting some orders, and getting set up. That's all you need to worry about. Just worry about what I'm telling you, not what's going on in the group. Because I think I remember it really clearly when I joined, how overwhelming the groups were and how I was like, oh my God, none of this is ever going to make sense. What's a scent pack?
I remember thinking that.
I was just like, oh, this is so hard. But yeah,
I think I got added to the groups and I'd not even smelt any Scentsy. I'd never smelt Scentsy before.
I joined.
Nope, not one thing. So when I got added to the groups, I was like, oh, so these are what the product. I hadn't even looked at a catalogue. Didn't look at a catalogue. Looked at the join post and just join. Complete whim.
I'd never had a warmer. I'd just had some wax. Lose the RM bands. I don't get it. It's time to move up.
What's an RM band?
I don't know. Armbands.
Oh.
I was like Royal Marine, Royal Mail.
What's that? Oh.
You had us then. Oh dear. Yeah, a lot of people have joined without trying. Like we know that customers are the most natural progression to team members, but a lot of people do join without something. They just hear the opportunity and like, oh my God, yeah. Oh wow, this is amazing how many people have never heard of Scentsy. And never smelt Scentsy by the time.
I hadn't even heard of it. Laura told me about it and I was like, oh. And then 2 days later I joined. She was like, oh my God, that was the easiest sign up ever.
Oh my God.
And look what happened. Crazy.
No, that's crazy. Has anyone got any questions, anything about tonight that they want us to go over? Shell had used it for 5 years before she joined.
5 years, wow.
You've been using it for longer than I've actually been a consultant. I had my 4-year anniversary just yesterday. I feel like there's a lot we wanted to cover tonight that we didn't. How do you handle being overexcited and your team not feeling it? Find team who do. You're always going to have people who are not on the same, like they don't want what you do, but that's why you've got to never, ever, ever stop recruiting. And I hope that little bit tonight about bringing in the hobbyists made you realise how important those people are. They really do matter. But just keep looking. Inject. If you've got energy that is getting bounced back from your team, then inject it into finding some new team members. 100%. Never stop. That's my answer. Any more questions? Yeah, me and Lisa have done. I've got quite a few recruitment trainings on YouTube. Me and Lisa have done the Rockstar Academy, not the Rockstar Academy, the Dream Team Academy. We've got that. And then we did a Rockstar Academy on recruiting. That was
well received, wasn't it?
We had good feedback for that. And then I've got a few others as well. Because we could talk about recruiting, but we'd never stop. Like, we'd literally be here till the next level up training. So. But yeah, I hope you guys are. I hope you guys have like got something from the training and you feel excited and ready to level up.
Have we got a challenge for this week? I don't think we discussed one, did we?
Vicky's doing it.
Vicky, what do you want them to do as their homework?
What was it you wanted them to do, Vicky?
I know.
What was it? Just text me.
What do you want me to take? I think, do you know what would be really good is for you to all go and have a play about with the reporting, and I will put up the 3 flyers that have got like all the different reports. I want you to run a couple of reports and have a little play about, and maybe make a list of like who your rock stars are that you want to work with, or even find, if you've got quite a small team, message them all and find out who wants it, who's as excited about it as you are. And if you get absolutely no one back, then obviously you've got to get out there and go and have recruiting conversations. And if you get everyone back, then you've got to work out how to manage your time. That's a challenge. You send them all a squealing message going, oh my God, I'm so excited, let's do this.
Get them in a group chat. I think I can't remember what I was just going to say. It's totally gone out of my head. But you work in your business. Like, if you're struggling to get much back from your team, then just throw yourself into your own business. And honestly, that will see so much growth because you'll see new customers, you'll see new team members. So if you're struggling to get your team excited and motivated, just throw yourself into your own business. Absolutely throw yourself.
Yeah.
You've already had to screaming message. Yeah, that's your homework. Send everyone a screaming message.
Show your excitement, like genuinely. You can call it the Nifton scream.
Yeah, and get them to find, like, focus on their next goal. So if they're an essential consultant, get them to focus on their next goal. So certified, right? Come on, girl, let's get you there at the end of this month. Let's get you to, like, maybe they've got a teamie and they just keep missing out on lead consultants each month. Like, come on, you can do this, right? This is what you need to get to lead consultant. I think if you, obviously, compensation plan training is a total other training. There's one on my team page. I'm sure there's one on Lisa's team page as well. If you need to learn the compensation plan as well, about what they actually need to get to those next steps.
There's one in my leadership page, I think. Squad leaders.
Got a teamie with 2 recruits in her site, so we're focusing on that for it. I've just seen one of my girls was just recruited as well, who I know I've just had an email to say she's recruited as well. So
yay!
Well, we've been on the call.
Amazing. Right. That's good work.
We've kept it under an hour and a half.
I've just downloaded those things, by the way.
Wicked.
Let me take a picture of you all. Did you, as you snapped my picture earlier? Well, I was throwing my arms around. Smile. I love it. Everyone goes.
Let me get one.
Everyone goes like this.
I know. I'm like, oh crap. And then when people have took them when you didn't expect it, and you're like you look angry.
Yeah, you look like really serious face like this.
Like, honestly, we do have fun. All right, guys.
Right, it's been good. It's been cool. I'll see you all later.
And Vicky, I'll set you homework.
See you next week.
Scream.
Yeah, scream. See you later, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.